I'd like to talk about a very different way of looking at the problem of smoking and how to stop. So let's look at the quitting cycle. This is the cycle that smokers will go through repeatedly when they try to quit. So you've got smoking, of course, and that's seen as the problem. And so you need to do some learning to solve this problem. So you come up with some options: willpower, patches, gum, acupuncture, Champix, laser, books and seminars. And in your learning, you work out these various success rates and then pick an option. And your learning doesn't really go much past there. So you move into the quitting phase, and you're feeling pretty good because you're not smoking. But unfortunately, that's short-lived, because we know that only 20 to 30% of people will actually continue to feel good. The vast majority will actually end up still having a problem. So that's 70 to 80% will fail when they use these options. So not wanting to smoke still, perhaps looking at another option and then trying that, moving into the quitting phase, and then some people will succeed, but most will fail, and this just is repeated over and over again. And when we looked at this, we realised that if 70 to 80% of people are failing with these so-called solutions, that means that these solutions don't really have all the answers. In fact, they're probably not really understanding the problem. So we went back to the beginning and we decided to look at the problem in a different way. Instead of asking, how do you stop smoking, instead of looking at smoking as the problem, what we decided to do was to ask, what happens when somebody quits and why do they fail? So we started to look at quitting as the problem. And when you look at quitting as the problem, you come up with some very different perspectives. In fact, your learning and the questions that you ask changes. Instead of looking at the ready-made solutions, what you're actually asking is, what's the basic reason that I keep failing? And when you come back to your own experience, and if I go back to my experience, I know that when I was trying to quit and then when I failed, the point at which I failed was when I had a craving. And I had to smoke in order to get rid of that craving. So we started to learn about the cravings. And of course there's two types of cravings. The first one is physical cravings, and the second one is mental cravings. So we thought that if we could solve this problem, if we could deal with these cravings, reduce them so that you didn't need to use willpower, then we'd actually be able to move through the quitting phase without too much of a problem and permanently feel good. And that's exactly what we did. We've actually designed a way to reduce the physical cravings and actually eliminate the mental cravings each time they occur. And this program has been so successful that, for example, really heavy smokers like Doug Walters, the famous Australian cricketer, who was smoking 80 cigarettes a day when he went through our program once, and has not smoked again, and that was over 4 years ago. And that was featured on A Current Affair a couple of times actually, because it's such an amazing story. And that story has been repeated over and over again with many other people who actually never thought they could quit. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to help you really learn about these physical and mental cravings so that when you get into the quitting phase, you won't fail. So what we'd encourage you to do is ask the right questions about quitting and learn a little bit more, spend a little bit more time learning. So to help you out, what we'll do is we'll send you a complimentary series of videos. The first one will actually have a look in more detail at the problems of quitting. You'll actually learn how and why physical cravings arise. And you'll actually learn the 4 stages that you go through when you generate a mental craving. And then In the second video, we'll look at the solutions. How do we reduce these physical cravings? How do we eliminate the mental cravings? So if you'd like to see the next video now, just click on the link in the grey box below. You'll see that where the arrow has appeared, and we'll email that to you straight away.